Hi everyone, Stephanie here at Lavender Rose Fabrics in Eureka, California. I have definitely caught the bug and I have been going crazy and having a blast making the viral Quilted Witch's Hat. We have been teaching classes here at the shop and I've had quite a few people ask me how to get this hexagon style scrappy quilted brim. Well, I figured out that this really popular project that I like to teach at our So Happy Weekends and our quilt retreats is perfect size for a quilted witch's brim. It only takes 5 2.5-inch strips of fabric, and this is what it looks like. Oftentimes at retreats, we just fill them with batting and backing and quilt them down and use them as a beautiful table center. But I'm going to teach you how to make your own so that if you want, you can turn yours into a quilted witch's hat. Let's get started. I'm using Bright Frights, available at lavenderrosefabrics.com. Okay, so we are going to start with 5 2.5-inch strips of fabric. Now you do want to put a little consideration into where they go because these two and these two are going to touch each other once you cut them up. And this one here is going to be your constant that shows up around your hat. So to give you an example, once we cut these up, these are going to be next to these, which is this and this. So these two will be touching and these two will be touching. You want to take that into consideration because you don't want to go like that necessarily because these two would be touching and there's not a lot of contrast between them. So I personally really liked this combination. And then you're going to sew them all together using a 1/4-inch seam. And here they are sewn together with a 1/4-inch seam. Now it's very important that your strips are not bigger than 2.5 and that you only use the 1/4-inch seam, because if you don't have the right proportions, then you won't have enough fabric to get all 6 of your triangles. So many of you have probably seen this ruler before and seen these lines on these rulers and wondered, what on earth are those for? Well, today you're going to learn. Today we're going to be utilizing the 60 and the 60. And those are the lines that we're going to be using to make this project. So we are going to bring our strips out. And our very first cut is going to be this 60 line right across the top of your fabric to get you started at the right angle. Now you can line this all the way up here. You want to get it as close to the edge as you can, or else you're not going to have enough space to get all of your triangles out of these strips. So you're going to want to line the 60 across up here and then go as far over as you can, as close to the selvage as you can on this side. So my first cut will be like that. Now you can take this and set it aside and use that for your scrappiness for your cone of your hat or anything else. Now we are going to be lining up the 60-degree line with our cut lines from here on out. So I'm going to line my cut line up with this 60-degree line here and line it up with the very, very point so that the very tip of it comes to the very tip here. You don't want to bring it over because you'll end up with a line. You want it to be a triangle. And I'll just pull that to the side. Now I'm going to utilize this line here and line it up this way with my previous cut line, lining up the 60 on that, hold it down, and I'll set that aside. You'll kind of get a visual of how it's going to be coming together. Very cool. So I'm going to continue to do this until I do the whole strip set. Now, it's really important when you are pressing your strips that they all get pressed the same direction. That way, whenever we get ready to sew these together, they will nest really nicely into each other and be really easy to make your points come together. You can see this is all I'm left with. So if you don't place it properly, you could run out easily. So you can set that aside and use that for the scraps for your cone. And now you're just going to put your triangles every other one. And this is my result. Very cool. When you get ready to put them together, you want to put them together 3 and 3 so that it's easier to sew it down the middle and you don't have to do any Y seams. Again, when you are pressing your original strip set, press all of your strips the same direction so that way whenever you get ready to do this, you can see they're going a different direction here. And they will lock in perfectly to each other. And then you just put a pin there and you go down each spot and they will lock perfectly into each other. Place a pin. And that way all your little points will line up perfectly. Another helpful tip is whenever you are sewing these together, I recommend pressing these seams open. It'll make it a lot easier whenever you get here to this point where all these come together. It won't be quite so bulky in some areas. It'll be more evenly distributed. So as you can see, I have sewn these two and I'm going to attach this one to this and these two, and I will attach this one to this so that it's much easier to put together at the final step. Okay, so here we are with my hexagon project all together, and as you can see, it is the perfect size with just a little tiny bit of room around the edges to fit the template for a witch's hat. So if you're going to make this just as a table center table runner, then you can put batting and a backing on and quilt it down. But since we are going to turn this into a quilted witch's hat, we are going to get our flex foam. Well, that's it for my tutorial. I hope you found it fun and informative. I would love to see what you make. Send me pictures and tag me in your creations. Stay tuned for another video where I will put the rest of the hat together and you can see my final result using this project as the witch hat brim. Have a great day!